I want you to know that it's the truth. The only thing that is going to stop you is you. The only thing that is going to stop you is you. They're already loud back here. The only thing that is going to stop you is you. You hear me? 3 years. 3 years. And I can't even describe it. And I'm not going to try because I'll be a baby and cry. And I just don't feel like crying my way through this message. Brock, do you mind getting these Rubik's Cubes? I said that wrong, but I can't even describe it, and I'm not going to try. I started thinking this week as I was preparing the message. My son Jacob said when we were doing construction on our old facility, and before we got started, he made a statement to me while I was at Walmart. He texted me and he said, I can't wait. He probably didn't remember this. He said, I can't wait to see us love on this community like crazy. And that's exactly what we've done. Our way, the way God called us to do it, we've done it. It's exactly what we've done. 154 baptisms in 3 years. Catalyst, you're beautiful. I want you to know that you're beautiful. You're beautiful. You may not be sitting in a beautiful situation. You may not feel beautiful, but you are beautiful, Catalyst. We've done this thing together. You are beautiful. And I know that we're a family and we have our dysfunctions and we're inappropriate at times and we're crazy. And but together, Catalyst, together, we have created a culture. I'm not even talking about what's to come. We've created a culture that so many people have come back to church. They've come back to church. They finally begin to trust again. They've learned to be them. A lot of you have learned to be yourselves for the first time in your life. You're growing closer to God and you know He's crazy about you. And we have done that together. We have done that together. We've shown people that we can be crazy, we can be inappropriate as long as we're serving a God who's crazy about us. And Cata fam, can you tell our guest today, He's crazy about all of you. He's crazy about the good, He's crazy about the bad, and He's crazy about the cray-cray. Look at your neighbor right now and say, He's cray-cray about the cray-cray. And we've done it. And we're going to continue to. And it's a beautiful thing. Our online ministry, we welcome you online. Our online ministry has been unbelievable. The last 3 weeks, I mean, it's always been a lot of people, but the last 3 weeks, each service has gotten over 1,000 views. Last week, last I looked, it was pushing 1,400. I've heard stories in the community, y'all. I've heard stories of people who are committed to another church, but they don't go to their lunches with their friends because they want to go home and they crave what we offer. The realness, the rawness of it. We've had people who their walls were so high and they watched us for months online and they finally decided to walk in here and realize that we weren't one of those churches that just claimed to be different. We are different. We are a family and it's because of you and you're beautiful and I want you to know they've come back and we've done what we've done because of you. Because of you. Some of you are like, well, I came back. Well, you came back and you committed. And people only come to church not just by hearsay. They want to see somebody they trust. You are beautiful. You are beautiful, Catalyst. One word that comes to mind in Derek's mind in this 3 years is thankful. We're thankful for you. Please don't ever think you're a small part of this church. Every one of you make this place more beautiful because you're you. Please don't ever feel a small part of this place. You are a huge part of the heartbeat of this church. Please don't ever feel that way. We're thankful. We're thankful for you. And two, we're thankful for the wounds. We're thankful for the wounds. All the wounds. We're thankful, Derek and I are thankful for every season because without the wins and the losses, this family would never exist. And we're thankful for the wounds. And we want to give you hope. It's our birthday. So on your birthday, we want to give you hope in your story. Not just our church story, but your story. Because it takes the wins and the losses to create a beautiful story. And I want to give you hope in that today so that you don't stop till you get enough. That's my title. That's my title. We had to go 80s. And it's not just about getting. It's don't stop till you give it up. But I didn't want to ruin MJ. Matter of fact, if you're sharing online, let's go ahead and let's keep the momentum up online. When you share the video, anybody who doesn't know, we do hashtags. When you share this video, hashtag it's your birthday. Hashtag we're going to party like it's your birthday. We're going to give people hope that God still has something for them. And today I want to give you hope on your birthday. On your birthday. And the way we're going to do that is I want to give you hope so that we will make what matters matter. Because if you live a life that matters, you're going to have to focus on what matters. And I want to take you to a scripture from the very beginning. And I want to show you what God said from the beginning, what matters. And the sucky part about this scripture is that we've lost the spirit of it completely. We've lost the spirit of it. And this message is for those of you who still have a little hope in humanity. Because this was not just God's will for us in the beginning. Because what I'm about to read to you is what he made you for. It's what he made you to do and how he made you to do it. And if you've got a little bit of hope in people, I want to preach to you today. If you're tired of living in the negativity of society where people suck, everybody sucks, the world sucks, everybody's screwed up, I got news for you. If you're human, we know we're screwed up. And you know specifically how you're screwed up. But I want to show you what God said from the beginning, because his love is all that matters. And when we make that all that matters, we will live a life that matters. So we're going to go back to the beginning. I'm talking to you today because we are not going to continue. I want this world to get better, and we can't continue to point fingers and shift blame at everybody who's the problem and say they're the problem. We can't point fingers at people who oppose our political preferences and opinions. We've got to begin to look at ourselves and say, I've got to make what matters matter so that I can live a life that matters and make this world a beautiful place. So if you're with me today, we're not going to focus on all we lost. We're not going to focus on what we lost and what God had to restore. We're going to focus on the will of God. Are you with me? Because it's still his will. He's still got something. I'm going to take you to Genesis 1, 27 and 28. This is after mankind was created. And God said this. So God created human beings in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female, he created them. Then God blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and govern it. Reign over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, and all the animals that scurry along the ground. God said from the beginning, you are my partner. You were my teammate. You were a co-heir to my kingdom. I want to do this life with you. I want you to kill it with me. And it's not similar, it's not the same, but it's similar. Do you know why Derek and I can co-pastor together? A lot of people, when we were talking about starting Catalyst, they were like, how can two people steer the ship? It's because we're a family. Derek and I win and lose together. When I say something crazy up here that I regret, which I have and I will continue to from time to time, we win and lose together. He is my teammate. We are not just best friends, we are family. We don't refer to our families as our families. It's our family. When he loses, I lose. And we win and lose together. And God, in the same way, except he's steering the ship and you get to be on the journey with him, God is saying, you are my partner. You are my homeboy. You are my homegirl. And we are going to make this world more beautiful together. We are going to make it more beautiful. And when you leave it, it's going to be a better place than when you found it. You're called to grow, and you're called to multiply, and you're called to make this world better. And we have lost focus on what matters. We have taken this scripture and we have done some terrible things with it. And today I want to invite you back to the original plan where God says, I invite you. Let's do this thing together. We have made this scripture a mess. Number one, I've heard people say like they don't believe in birth control because the scripture says be fruitful and multiply. Psst. Several thousand years ago, the world needed people a lot more than it does now. Man, if you've been in church long, they say, man, get married and pop out kids. I'm going to tell you, we have done this whole be fruitful. In Bible college, they said that, man, you're called to get married, you're called to have babies immediately. I mean, we missed the entire spirit and point of this verse. I mean, I have seen single people that grew up in church, and they either one of two things: they get married, and they have, as soon as they walk down the aisle, they're popping out babies, or they're 27 years old and they're panicking because they think they did something wrong because they have no prospects. Come on. Hallelujah. Do you know how hard it was at my old church being a single pastor? It sucked. My old church family made being single harder than it should have been. I had to use my time on stage to tell people, I don't want to date your cousin. I don't want to date your sister. I don't want to date your aunt. You are not my matchmaker. I didn't do it quite that forcefully, but I did it. And still had people calling me because that view of single pastors should be married. Single pastors should be married. If you're not married, you're doing something right. And Valentine's Day was even harder for so many years because of the people that I pastored. Because we have that view: get married, have babies. You know, if you look at the Bible, Paul actually says, for my single people, he says, if you don't have a wife, don't seek one. Because getting married is a distraction, so you better have the right person to distract you, or your life is going to be a distraction from what matters. Also, the other thing that has distracted us is the American dream. The American dream, and that is the biggest distraction, because a lot of you have already gotten married. And you're distracted by everything that doesn't matter since you've gotten married. And let me tell you why this is a distraction. See, I'm just going to put this short version. You want to talk theology? I can talk to you next week after I regain my strength from today. Americans will never understand Israel. The Bible was written by underdogs. And by underdogs, the worst of the worst in America can never understand the pain and persecution that Israel went through. We can whine about it and say we're dealing with it. No, we're not. Dozens of generations, slavery, persecution. We can't understand what they wrote, so what we've done is package it in the American dream. So you know what it's done? You know what it's done to us? We focused on everything that matters that doesn't. Domination, promotion, control. Let me give you an example. We get married and we say, make more money. I know so many parents, you spent so much money on your kids for Christmas because you think it's going to make them happy, and then you really are just spoiling them, and 2 days later they're over the toys you bought, your checking account's empty, and you're in debt, and you go into the new year frustrated because you think, God, if I'm doing right, you're going to grow my income. We make stuff matter that doesn't matter. And you end up stressed out with no money because you spent things on stuff that doesn't matter. We love promotion, man. We love promotion. I got to get the next job, and the next job I got to move up, and I got to move up. I've seen pastors do this. I have met pastors that lost their everything. I used to envy them because I was a lot slower developing. And they would tell me, God took the rug out from under me because all I was wanting is the next church, the biggest church, the biggest church. They wanted promotion. That is what the American dream has done to us, and we've lost what matters. Promotion. That's what we want. We want the next big thing and the next big thing. I know I'm talking to a lot of parents here, but let me tell you what the American dream has done to you. You put too much pressure on your kids to be great athletes or make great grades, whatever. I mean, it says be fruitful and multiply. So we say that. How many things, and I'm going to get into it today, we talk about healthy things grow. So if you're not growing, you're dying and all that. We're going to talk about the way you grow and what you grow today. You put pressure on your kids, and your kids, you don't even realize it. You're running them in the ground. Have big houses, have big cars, have a trophy wife so you can flaunt your success. There's a lot of people that love Jesus, and they got the entire wrong definition of what success looks like because we've lost what matters, because we do not understand what the Bible originally meant. And we've made stuff that matters, that doesn't matter. Do you know we can intimidate people in the church this way? We can do church in Jesus this way. How many of y'all know those people that have memorized a ridiculous amount of scriptures, but the reason they do it is to intimidate you where you don't challenge them? And you can quote KJV and you can know all the latest theological arguments. You can out-debate me. But if you need to grow what matters, God, your heart will tell on you. And you have the choice to do something about it. You can be as spiritual as whatever pastor you've looked at and appreciate and respect. You can act like what they say spiritual all day and not be spiritual at all. But today I'm just going to give you my heart and you go work with it and pray about it, because I'm going to tell you we've lost what matters. And God said in the beginning, it's my will that you be fruitful and multiply, that you reign over the sea. And what this is, over the fish in the sea, that you govern the world. What he was talking about is stewardship. So today I want to give you my point and I want to drive it home for the rest of the message. I've done enough with this. I want to tell you, don't stop multiplying what matters. And in the same token, stop multiplying what doesn't matter. Stop it. If you do not multiply what matters and you multiply what doesn't matter, I promise you one day in your life, you may not be empty, but you will be disappointed. Jesus didn't just come to the cross to redeem and restore and save us. He came to refocus us on what his will always was for us. Catalyst Church, we're here to celebrate. 2,000 years ago, Jesus brought sexy back. And I mean real sexy. I'm talking about a man and woman who live in honor and integrity, and we focus on what matters. And he lived a life, and we have completely got distracted from what Jesus reminded us of 2,000 years ago that they forgot 4,000 years before, however long. And you get the chance to be a part of it. Every gift, every ability, every person God puts in your life, every job opportunity, everything God gives you, he gives you to multiply what matters. He gives you to make this world more beautiful and to do it with him. Jesus said, the kingdom of God is at hand. Let's do this thing together. He said, I've given you the keys to the kingdom. I could go all day. Jesus said what Genesis said. From the beginning, I've called you to focus on what matters. To focus on what matters. And here's the deal. If you don't know what matters, you're going to grow a lot of things that don't matter. So what we've done is we've gotten so distracted and we're focused on the wrong things, and our priorities are so mixed up, and we make things that don't matter. And things that matter in our lives we really don't focus on as much. And what we've done is we grow things that don't matter. A lot of people say healthy things grow. No, unhealthy things can grow, and healthy things can grow unhealthily. You want me to give you an example? Here it is. In 2011, I was 5'8" and a half. I tell the doctors, I'm not giving you that half inch until my spine curves a little bit more. As I get older and lose that half inch, then I'll give it to you. 5'8" and a half. In 2011, I was 306 pounds. I grew that way. I was growing. But living off Whoppers and cheeseburgers and a lot of macaroni and cheese ain't the way to grow. Let me give you another example. Since some of you don't struggle with weight, and I hate you. No, I don't really hate you. I wish I could be you is what it is. I wish I could eat like my brother. I wish I could eat like my brother and lose weight. God, I wish I had that problem. Some of y'all chubby people should be saying amen right now. A lot of you have grown your career. Oh, man, you've grown your career, and on the surface it looks so successful. Man, but you grew it being cutthroat. You grew it selling things for more than they were worth. You grew it making one-sided business deals that only benefited you or benefited you a lot more. And you may grow a career and everybody may celebrate it, but if it was not done the right way, that is not growth in things that matter. You have multiplied what didn't matter. And here's the deal. You may have a lot of money one day. Man, you may have worked hard on your career and you may get retired and everybody in your company celebrates you one day, but you sacrifice time with your spouse and kids. And you may die with a lot of money, but you're going to die with less people, or you're going to have a lot of people around you that really are only around you because you benefit them, or they're benefited by you. They're around you for the wrong reasons. And your kids aren't going to have a deep relationship with you because you focused on stuff that doesn't matter. You see what I'm saying? You can grow things the wrong way, and you can grow right things that matter the wrong way, and then you can just grow bad things. Just because you're growing doesn't mean you're growing what matters. So for the rest of this message, what I want to do is I want to help you see what doesn't matter so you can see what does matter. Because if I can help you focus on what does matter or what doesn't matter, you'll live what matters. Because Catalyst, we're going to continue to grow, and we're going to do our best to grow the right way with the right spirit. You've grown your income. You've grown your income. But you've sacrificed your kids in doing so. And I want you to know what will happen if you focus on things that don't matter, because I see it all the time. You're going to grow your income. You may be great. One day, don't get mad when your kids don't make time for you when you didn't make time for them. Don't get mad when you look at your kids and you're like, they don't have time for me anymore. What were you doing working 17-hour days when you could have worked 12-hour days in some seasons and grown your income and went down to 8 or 9-hour days? Don't get mad when you have no relationship with your kid, when for 20 years you focused on stuff that didn't matter and you grew the stuff that didn't matter, and then finally you come around and you want to celebrate those grandkids, but your kids are like, you were never a part of my life. Come on. I'm telling you, it's a big setup. Satan wants to trick you. A lot of you are moving, and we're a church that moves, but when you move on things that don't matter, your life is never going to matter for what it was supposed to matter for. You're going to focus, you're going to grow, and you're going to grow your income, and you're going to grow your career, and it's going to look good, but one day you're going to be lonely. You're going to be lonely. And some of you are looking at me, you're like, I'm broke, man. I'm just doing what I can. Let me tell you something. Listen to me. Start somewhere. Come on, man. Come on. Even if you can't do everything in this season, you can do something. Yes. There is at least 1 or 2 mornings or nights, whatever works best for you, that you can put your kids to bed. I will tell you, Garrett, his favorite time of the evening, he will tear up at 11 years old if we don't go up there and invest in him and spend a little time with him and let him know we are there. Start somewhere. Come on. You can't do everything you want, but you can do something. And if you don't do something, you will never get to where you want to be. And you will focus on what doesn't matter. If you're broke, if you're working 3 jobs, if you're trying to build the right way. You may have Q-tips to hold your eyes open, but just do it, because those kids need to know you love them, because they matter. Your legacy matters. Your legacy matters, and the people that you created and are responsible for matters. Don't focus so much on your kids' abilities. You hear me? There's I promise you, a lot of your kids right now that you're really, some of you that are too serious about athletes and about grades and about all this, they truly believe that you're proud of them only because of their touchdown passes that they catch or the throw. And it's not your heart at all. I know all my athletic parents in here. I know that there's tons out there that I'll never know. But listen to me. I know that's not your heart. You love your kids. Amen. And you would say, there's no way they believe that. It's not my heart. And they probably wouldn't admit it to you. And it's not your heart, but you've acted like that at times. Amen. And the kids only can read through their insecurities that sometimes we as parents create. Yes. Come on. And what happens is they put too much pressure because you want them to make the best grades. You push them and pressure them, and they end up hating the things that they were actually created to love. Come on, Ben. All because we focus on things that don't matter. I'm moving on. Y'all ready for me to move on? I know I'm ready for me to move on that one. That's why I wrote it so long. It's great that you bought a house. It's great that you bought a house. It's okay that you bought a big house. Ain't nothing wrong with big houses. I got one. It kind of, it was a part of my family story before I came along, and thank God we're able to afford it. But it is as sad as a funeral when you've got a house that's too big that you can't afford, that you're strained and stressed out, and you can't invest in things that matter, and you're stressed out and you're in debt, and you don't even need that big of a house. That is sad. Because what that stress and strain does is it stresses you out and it squelches what God really wants to do. Let me explain to you how. Do you know how many people there are in the world that make great incomes? And I don't mean like I'm not meaning about wealthy or like extremely wealthy. I mean married couples that have a double salary that is great. And they should be able to not just give to church or charity, they should be able to tip their servers. And they just throw a 20 in the offering plate at the church they love. And let me tell you, all my guests out here, we don't want you to give unless you want to give here. Come on. No, give somewhere. I have had to re-tip because millionaires who took me out to eat tip 20%. Listen to me. If you're only going to give the people that serve you what you're asked to give them when God has given you more than most people will ever have, you have lost it. You have made what matters don't. And I'm telling you, anybody who knows, Derek and I, we will look what you're tipping and we will wait till you leave and we will tip. We will buy a Diet Coke if we don't have cash and tip it on the car. We have seen people who have plenty of money. I'm not talking about people that you're believing God. I'm talking about people that have more than enough. Do you know like 20 or 30,000 grand a year per family is like the top 5 richest people in the world? Yeah, you live in America. Once again, you don't understand. We live in the most powerful nation in human history. And we just settle. I mean, I see people dropping a $20 offering plate and like tipping 20%. And the reason is we're stressed, we're strained, we're in so much debt. But here's what's going to happen. You're going to spend your life doing the minimal that God requires in everything. And you're going to grow up, you're going to grow old. And you're going to focus on stuff that doesn't matter. And you're going to have a lot more money. And you're going to have a lot more debt, some of you. And you're going to spend the rest of your life and you're going to wonder why you can't retire early, or you're going to retire early and leave an inheritance that could have been invested in your life into people. And you're going to sacrifice relationships because you're strained. The American dream is not a dream because we make what matters, make what doesn't matter. You have an incredible spouse at home. You hear me? Some of you are like, no, I don't. Listen to me. I'm talking to those, you know it. And I'll talk to you in a minute who you don't think so. You got an incredible spouse at home. And you need to treat them better. You need to treat them better. Because if you don't, you need to appreciate them. You need to tell them how much you love them. You need to help them around the house. You need to do life with them. Because if you don't, I promise, I'm not even going to promise. Let me just tell you this. If you don't appreciate the person you're doing life with them and treat them the way they deserve to be treated, don't you dare, listen to me now, don't you dare one day when they walk away because they're tired of not being noticed, don't you dare say that person is changed. When you're in the divorce court and it's ugly. I'm hard because I'm giving you hope. Any guess here? I'm hard for a reason, not for no reason. Listen, one day that person that you didn't notice, that did everything to love you and you didn't notice, don't you dare start cutting them down because you had years to do life with them. And honestly, what's sadder than that, and I know there's a lot of people who are not going to be ready for this, what's sadder than that is the people that stay in a marriage because they think they deserve to be treated like that because they chose them. And they lived their entire life wishing that there were more, or not even wishing there were more, wishing that the person they married stayed the person they married. Treat your spouse better. They deserve it. And even if they don't act like it, we are created in the image of God. We are made to be awesome. And for us, the only way to act awesome is to make what matters matter. Treat them respectfully. Quit looking at your spouse as a trophy on a shelf that not even you don't get down. Some of you get down in dust just enough to keep them. Do just enough to get better, and then the next 6 months you do nothing, and until it's on the rocks you do. Man, stop it. Stop it or be single. And I'm telling you this. I'm not telling you this to beat you up. I'm telling you this because your life can be more when you realize that you were made for more. Make what matters to your spouse matter to you. Let me tell you something about Angie. I'm usually the one that gets home and vents, and she at least pretends to listen, and then she gets lost because I'm that type of person that I spin a lot of webs, but I'm getting somewhere, but most people can't hang to where I'm getting. You probably just lost me there. But I'm going to tell you something, about 3 times a week, Angie comes home and she wants to do that. And she talks about her job, and sometimes she talks about the rude customer and all this, or the people that treated her, about her day, how behind she is. And a lot of times I don't understand the technical terms, and I have ADD, so when I don't understand, I check out. But you know what? The most important time of the day for her, as far as I'm concerned, is listening and trying to sort through the technical terms to get to what she's venting to me for. And because that's important to her, it's important to me. You know what's important to me? Back rubs. I've got Tourette's and I've got a lot of damage done to my back. And there's sometimes at 10:30 that I'm like, baby, I know we just turned the lights out, but my back's spasming, and she will get on top of me and rub my back and dig her elbows in because it matters to me.
Come on, man. Come on.
And you need to treat your spouse like they matter. You need to treat them like they matter even if they don't treat you like you matter. Because here's the deal. A lot of you are like right now, you're like, my spouse is a pissant. They piss me off. They nag me all the time. Well, listen to me. I would ask you, I would venture to say that for the last decade or more, you've set the precedent for your marriage. It can be said for a lot of marriages that you made the person you're married to, or at least contributed to it. You can start now, or you can have a cruel, cruel life. Even if you stay married, you can be miserably married.
Come on, baby. Talk to me.
This is what God is saying. Make the things that matter.
Amen.
Matter.
Yes.
Make the things that matter. Matter.
Hallelujah.
You're busting it at work, man. Nobody notices. Quit trying to manipulate your way to being seen. Quit contributing to the gossip and trying to say and complaining and belly aching. I promise you, it's all throughout the Bible. If you will work hard privately, if you will do what's right privately, God will bless you publicly. It may take years of being unseen at work and you getting passed up for the promotion. But don't stop till you get enough and give enough, and don't stop doing it the right way, Catalyst. God will honor you. God will honor you when you work as unto the Lord, because you can't do it as unto men because they don't even see you. And what will happen is they will eventually see you. Or God is blinding them because there's somebody who's going to pay you more and utilize the gifts you have to give more when you start giving your gifts the right way and things that matter. We're called to grow, but you've got to stop multiplying what matters and don't stop multiplying what matters. We have lost our lives and our sense of value, and we haven't lived what God's love can really, we haven't lived what we can really live when we focus on what matters. And that's what God wants you to do. The promise of God was stewardship. Make this world better. Jesus wants us to see that we are not as screwed up as his love. His love is bigger than our screw-ups. God will do whatever he wants to do if you will let him do it. And if you want what he has. You know, life is about seasons. And when you stop growing in any season, your life will begin to stop. And you will fall behind. Think about it in your natural years. Birth to 10, what happens? What happens in birth to 10? You just grow and you learn a lot about life. 10 to 18, you learn about adulthood. From 18 to 30, if you don't learn, you end up becoming that guy who's talking about his high school glory days and has been single or been divorced 3 times by 40. Let's face it. You either handle the seasons God's given you and you grow through them and you focus on what matters, or you stop growing. And when you stop growing or you're growing in things that don't matter, you're going to live disappointed. It's been that way for Catalyst, and I'm going somewhere with this. The first year, we started in that old bar and nightclub, what we call 9/11. And it was awful for a lot of reasons. And I'm not going into those. I've told them before, and I'm not telling them today. The first year we grew. We had some great moments and some miserable time with no money. Year 2, we started out, we really hit a growth spurt, but we didn't stop. We weren't going to stop growing. We weren't going to stop doing things the way God has called us to do them. We weren't going to stop. Year 2, we get this call, which in a couple of weeks we got a message. We're going to tell you some details that'll blow your mind and how we got this building. Year 2, we started leasing this building, but we said, we're not going to stop. We're not going to stop. Year 3, we got to buy these facilities. If you could see the decisions and the details and what it takes to do ministry on the offerings that we get, and I mean, it is mind-blowing, but we still did it. What I want to tell you about 2019 is it was a crazy year. 2018, we exploded. I don't think a church, percentage-wise, has ever grown this quick in our history, in our county's history, in this population context. We exploded, and we almost couldn't catch up organizationally, and we're still trying. So we grew. 2019 has been catch up. And what happened is, Derek and I, if you've noticed, we're just, in our church, if you've noticed anybody, we're honest with what God's called us to do. We are unapologetically an accepting and inclusive church. If you don't like it, you don't like it. You don't have to come back, but we are. In 2019, we decided that we were going to come out and just be very honest with who we are and where we're going. It's not that we weren't honest. We were showing people we weren't just a flavor that was going to be gone next week. And it cost us, y'all. Some of you may have not noticed. If you've been around and been committed, you probably noticed some, especially mid-year. 2019, when we were honest about who we were, when we began to just be open and honest with where we stand, we lost people. It's the first time in our church I think we lost just a huge amount of people. Everybody talked about Catalyst growing. They're like, y'all's church is growing. And Derek and I around spring or summer were just looking like, no. We were struggling. We doubted ourselves. Was the county ready for what we're doing? Because I don't know of anybody else who does what we're doing, or especially the craziness Derek and I and all of us do it in. It was discouraging. We doubted ourselves. Matter of fact, spring and summer, I remember being some very discouraging times. A lot of people left us. A pastor told us a couple of months into Catalyst, people will leave you never thought would leave, and people will stay that you never thought would stay. And he was so right. People left. People left we never thought would leave. They weren't ready, and I'm not mad about it. It's okay. I know that this isn't for everybody. I get it. You can love us and not be, gravitate to what we're doing. In 2019, every seat that's been left empty, as you could see, is getting filled back up. And then some now. In 2019, with all the people leaving the financial struggle, we bought a facility. Biggest thing that I'm proud of in 2019, we still baptized 53 people. Over one a week average. You know how that happened? Is we've realized that we're called to win the way we're called to win. And so are you. And I can tell you that the growth we've had wouldn't have happened with the people that have left staying. Because now we have set a reputation that when you come into Catalyst, you know you're not just coming into a contemporary Baptist church. So you're at least open to it. And we've been able to make a difference. And I want to encourage you in that. Because there's going to be seasons of your life where God cuts away pieces and people. Don't you dare be frustrated about it. 2019, we probably did more on paper, losing more. Listen, people are going to leave your life. Pieces are going to get cut away that you never thought were going to get cut away. But don't stop. Don't stop living what matters, even when everybody else has their opinions of what should matter. Don't stop. Don't stop. If they don't deserve to walk down an aisle and marry you if they can't deal with you at your worst. Don't stop. You may be a little bit slower, and your journey may have gone slower, but I promise you that just means you're going to marinate a little bit longer. And when you come off the grill, there's going to be some flavor, aka character and wisdom that they wish they had.
Come on. Talk to me.
It took you longer. And some people weren't ready, and they're still not going to be ready for the next level with you. That's okay. Don't stop. You may be waiting for a man to notice you. I promise you it's going to be worth the wait, because you're going to walk an aisle and you're going to get married to your person. And the people that made what mattered, not made things that didn't matter, and they got ahead of God and got ahead of themselves, they're going to be in trouble, divorced, strained, and you're going to be just hitting your prime, starting a family and building your life.
Come on, Ben. Come on.
Young people, you can be a player all day.
Come on.
God won't honor it. You can have everybody's number in all digits, but really you only need one.
Come on.
And that don't take game. That takes time. It takes somebody who's saying, I'm not going to stop doing things the right way. Don't stop. There will be people leave you. There will be seasons of your life that are a struggle, but don't stop. And when you grow what matters, steadily but surely, your life will matter for so much more than you imagine. And check this out. You won't be like a lot of people's lives that are like Chick-fil-A fries. 5 minutes, they're no good anymore. I just hurt somebody's feelings. You thought Chick-fil-A was Jesus chicken. It ain't Jesus fries. I'm going to tell you something. If I can't eat them on the way home, I ain't getting them. I'm going to get 2 chicken sandwiches. That's it. That's all I need. That's what God wants to do in your life. He wants you to live a life that matters for the long haul. He doesn't want you to just to fizzle in every season. He wants you to stay faithful. And God will multiply what matters. And Catalyst Church, we're beautiful. You're beautiful. And we are just getting started. Look at your neighbor and say, we are Catalyst. We are going to multiply what matters. We're going to grow what matters. And we're going to see the glory of God in the things that matter. Thank you. You are family. And it's just getting started.
Two times in a row. Man, Jacob, you should not turn the mic off while I'm holding it. I did that. Y'all didn't catch that. So, like, hearing just some of the stories about Catalyst, some of the stories from you guys, and Ben and I, we talk about it all the time, and we share them from time to time. We've got more coming up. But looking at the last 3 years, like, from the beginning, I never saw this. Like, I hoped that this would be it. I didn't know what we were going to be. I didn't think we'd be where we are now. I thought it would take a lot longer. But the thing is, and I wish that I could say me and Ben, we're just so incredibly awesome that we sat down in 2016 and said, okay, here's what we got to do. Let's just do these few steps in this timing, and then we'll be right here in 2020. But it didn't look anything like that. Like he said, there were days where we looked at it and we were like, oh my God, what are we doing? Oh, what is next? What does this even look like? I mean, I remember us having the conversation as a board. Our giving hasn't caught up with the amount of people. We were about to bust out of the seams over at 9/11, and we were like, what do? We don't have the money to do something else. There are a lot of times like that where we literally did not know what it was going to look like, but we didn't stop. We continued to push forward. And even looking back at the decisions we've made as a church, is the things that have happened over the course of the last 3 years, some of them, it looks like spaghetti. It's not like you say, okay, I see they did this, then they did this, and they did this. It was like, no, they did this, and they felt like God was saying, do this, and then they did this, and then it was like, oh, wow, we're doing this, and then it went back over here. I mean, it's all it was the last 3 years is us been saying, all right, God, we're trying. We're trying. See, your marriage may be jacked up, and I mean jacked up. Like you can look at it, you wake up in the morning, you see your spouse, and you don't even recognize them anymore. And you may not be able to see what that can look like, but when you don't stop, You make decision after decision. And it's not like one day you're like, oh man, I'm gonna love this girl again. No, it's like that one day you wake up and you're like, if I don't have anything nice to say, I'm just gonna say, I love you, good morning. I'm just gonna fake it till I make it. You take those steps. You know, your relationships with your parents or your relationship with your kids, man, it may be trash. And you can't see how it's gonna be fixed, but you take one step. Take a step. Don't stop. With your job, with your finances, with your health, whatever it is, whatever you're struggling with, it's not something you don't have to see where it's going to be. That would have been a good way of saying that. You don't have to see where it's going to be. All you got to do is take the next step. We ready? I'm not calling for that, right? Oh, am I? Okay. I thought you were coming up here first. We have a schedule. You'd think that I could read it. No. So anyway, that's what we've done as a church. That's what we're going to continue to do. Not mess up the schedule. No. We just pursue God. We try to take the next step, whatever's next. That's how you do it in your life. You want to not stop till you get enough. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. You give with everything you have. You try with everything you have. Because I'm gonna tell you, you can mess it up. I would much rather here with the church. I would much rather somebody come to me, one of the team members, and say, "Man, I was trying my best, but I screwed it up," than them to say, "Well, I didn't know what to do, so I just kind of stopped." Man, just put some effort in there and God will work it out. So we got this video. This is kind of like almost like a highlight reel for what we've done with Catalyst for the last 3 years. But here's the thing. It ain't us. It ain't us, man. You guys have faithfully given financially. You've faithfully given your time. Some of you guys have been up here. Y'all come up here on the weekends. Y'all come up here on nights. Y'all are fixing stuff. Things happen. We don't know how to fix them. We got people up here fixing them. This thing couldn't happen without you guys. We'd be still at 9/11 crying ourselves to sleep at night. You guys are what makes Catalyst great. So this is like our video thank you.
Please don't stop the
Don't stop, get up.
It's been a great 3 years, but we're not going to stop moving. It's been a great start, but we're just starting. Y'all ready? It's going to be beautiful, and we're going to continue working it. And thank you for being willing to do it. Not us.
You're here, you're moving, you're doing what it takes. I know in the last year, and I know in the last 3 years, you guys have lost people. You've lost opportunities. Some things didn't go the way that they were supposed to, but are you ready to keep moving?
Yeah.
Are y'all ready
Yes,
to
sir.
move? Are y'all ready to do what it takes. So y'all ready to don't stop? Don't stop. Say don't stop.
Don't stop. Okay, before we get this party started, the after party started, I want you to know a couple things. Number one, we're starting move groups. We're going to have our move group leaders. For those move group leaders that didn't know, you can line up in front of the stage and you can come meet our move group leaders and figure out what you want. Also, the party. We've got our Polaroid pictures right here that we're going to take of every family. The pizza is out here. The birthday cake is in the lobby. All my heavy lifters who can help our chair team. When I dismiss, if you can help us get these chairs up, we're going to put tables and shift some things in here. There's seating out there. Y'all ready to have fun? There's activities, 80s games. Y'all ready? Let's party. Love y'all. Happy birthday.